Hello, Renee Flamond here. You know, wait, please hit subscribe and like. We talk a lot about what the pain they inflict on us, right? The inconvenience that they bring to our lives, the pain, the hurt, the anguish. We talk a lot about that. The topic of this video has been something that I've pondered this. I ponder this, and I have pondered it extensively, is that I just really don't know who they think they are to do all those things to us. Like, who? Who do you think you are? And I'm going to tell you what I mean, because you know I've spent minutes thinking about this. Minutes, long time, hours. The capacity for their audacity is astounding to me. Astounding. How they portray that they think of themselves. I say it that way because, of course, they aren't so self-enamored deep down inside, and we know the secret to that state of being in which they exist. Even though they portray that, oh, everything's, I'm great, and everything's great, and I'm happy, and I'm all powerful, and please. The way they act and execute their personality to rain down on everyone around them, and then seem to think, at least outwardly, that they're doing a favor to those subjected to them, it's truly 100% unabashedly, disgustingly egotistical and ridiculous to the point of almost clown-like. If you really think about the extent of what they do and how they maneuver around person to person doing the same thing, it's almost clown-like. But I gotta just know, and they don't answer you. I tried. You know I tried. But who are you that you think everyone needs a piece of you? I really did. I spoke to my narcissist about this. I couldn't understand how, especially with as little as he had to offer, how he thought he needed to give everyone a piece of himself. Like he was bestowing upon us some treasure. Like he was doing a favor for any of those who came in contact with him. Like, it's so vile. It's so vile. That level of self-admiration, even though it's only outward, is truly gross. And I don't mean self-aggrandizing is bad. Some people deserve to be feeling remarkable about themselves. You're a brilliant surgeon. You're saving lives. Sure. Sure. Policeman. Sure. Teacher. Nurse. Parent. Absolutely. Please, all of you, have a high opinion of yourself. You should, if you're excelling at any of those, and you're not being not a nice person in life, because it's not just about what you do, of course. But if that crosses the line into a territory, the self-admiration, into a territory of you thinking you need to share yourself, and, I mean, with everyone, because what? The person you chose can't live without the experience of you? You're so special that our lives would be so much less if we didn't experience you? This is the part that makes me sick. They actually go through life thinking they are doing favors to those people that they collect. That they are, what, enhancing our lives for a little bit during the love bombing? They feel like that warrants the latter behavior. Well, I showed her a little bit of kindness. Let me do this. Or him, her, whatever. I'm fascinated by that. And I don't think any human is better than another human. I say that all the time. We don't have caste systems in the US. We don't have, do you know what I mean? I think that's all gone by the wayside unless culturally it's part of your country, which it has been for thousands of years in some countries, and I'm sure that people can't escape that. But here, our mentality with which we were raised for the last 250 years of being a country, no. There's nobody that's not good enough for anybody else. Except the narcissist is lower than everybody else because of how they treat people. That can lower your standard, in my eyes, with against everybody else. You could be a brilliant surgeon saving lives. If you're a narcissist and treating people like this, shame on you. You're not better than anybody else then. And you don't deserve any self-admiration. I would rather you not be a brilliant surgeon saving lives, do something else with yourself, but maybe not be mean to people. Maybe you being mean to people, you might be causing so much harm in life that it's taking away from you, you're saving lives. You're not in balance. You're not in balance. You don't get to misbehave because you're doing something noble for a living. I made a video about that once. No. And I asked my narcissist that. When he did work, now he's a bum. But when he did work before he retired, it was a pretty noble line of work. I said, how do you reconcile both of those? And he once said to me, I guess because I think I did this for a living, I already paid my karma, so I can now, behave any way that you want? I don't even understand that. And I remember having a conversation with him and telling him right out, I mentioned this in another video before, there are 3 or 4 people that I keep at the top of my head because I've seen them in interviews. Tom Selleck famously met his wife, Gillian Mack is her name, decades ago. Saw her in a play, I think in London's West End, went to Cats over a dozen times. I think it was Cats. I'm a theater goer since I was 13 years old, and that's a play I've never seen. And I'm talking 10 to 12 plays a year for a long time, from here to Broadway. I just never saw Cats. I don't know why. It never came up. And he went over a dozen times. Was in love. That's it. Matthew McConaughey talks about, he saw his wife, Camilla Alves. That's it. He's never, ever dated anybody else since. Alice Cooper says the same thing. You might say, well, how do you know these people are real? Well, it's been decades and you never hear anything of them. Different. Young people might have to look up Alice Cooper. But he married a ballerina. He's completely in love. I've seen him in interviews, and he said right out, try to find something. You won't. I'm in love with my wife. Paul Newman. That's the other one. Joanne Woodward spun his head around. I want to say they were both married. I think they were both married at the time. And he famously said, why would I go out for hamburger when I have steak at home? Paul Newman. So when I said all these things to my narcissist, this was a long time ago. I said, so let me ask you a question. You think you're better than these people? You think you're better than the 4 people I just mentioned? These gods in their field, they're all gods in their field. You think you're better than these people? No one can live without your charm, but we can live without Paul Newman's. We can live without Matthew McConaughey's. Some people, to him, he's the end all. Right? We can live without Tom Selleck. Who doesn't love Tom Selleck? He's generationally loved. Right? Everybody loves Tom Selleck. Alice Cooper, brilliant musician. Been around since I've been listening to him since I was a kid. And they're just fine giving themselves to one person. Paul Newman is fine devoting himself to one person till the day he passed. Now, if the world can get by without experiencing in a shared capacity these people, I assure you, narcissists, we can all live without you. It's so unfortunate for you, I'm talking to the narcissist now as if they're listening, that you seek and seek and seek and seek to get that ego hit each time, yet you never quite hit the mark. Never quite hit the mark. So here you are thinking what? You're going to spread your charm all around and make all of these people happy? You think you're bringing joy into these people's lives? Look at me on a rant. I know, as if they're listening. It incenses me. I don't know what they're thinking. They never hit the mark. They never get the happiness. They don't land a Mrs. Selleck or a Mrs. Cooper or a Mrs. McConaughey or a Mrs. Newman. They never get it right. They never land in any respectable place. They never quite get that gold ring in life. They don't capture any magic ever. Yet they go through life thinking they have magic and the gold ring and a respectable place to give to people. And they pretend like they're going to. I mean, so who are you? Honestly, you think you're so all that to be having to bestow yourself upon many? Biggest dysfunctioning ego. They're a slave to it. It's beyond anything we could even fathom. The world needs them. We all need them. They think they have to go out and impress people or try to. Failing every step of the way. Every step of the way, because they're not impressive usually once you look closely. They may be funny, charming, make a splash, be magnanimous. Mine did. He had a big smile, and a hearty laugh. He had a way of schmoozing with people. Well, you know what? That's fine if you know somebody for 10 minutes, an hour, superficially, once a month. You bump into someone at a bar, they're a friendly person. But you get involved and you look closely to some people, you could see how broken they are. He had zero to add of value to the world. Honestly. And I don't just say that because he was a narcissist with whom I was involved. I've looked at it objectively. I wrote it down. You know I did. You know I made a flow chart on my dry erase board. You know I did. And he adds zero value. Except maybe to his mother, who I'm sure thinks he can do no wrong. I'm kind of starting to think about that's where his narcissism came from. Never been scolded probably a day in his life because he would charm his way out of anything. Especially with his own mother. Mothers can't see that, any fault in their sons to begin with, let alone a narcissist who's charming his mother and lying about anything that might happen with a sibling or with any situation. He's going to bring home to his mother exactly what stories he wants her to know, and she's going to see him that way. So a mother can see the narcissist in this luminous light. Past the mother, I think everybody eventually sees that he's a loser in every sense of the word. Perhaps yours is too. I mean, making people laugh a couple of times isn't adding anything, especially when it's contrived kinship they're cultivating. Do you know what I'm saying? It's contrived. It's calculated. So they're doing that. That's a performance. It's not even genuine when they're doing that aspect of their personality. Making people laugh, whatever. Being the, life of the party maybe. They can be, like I said, they can be very charming. Part of their manipulation. But wreaking havoc on a list of people isn't adding anything of value. I don't care what you may do for a living either. If you're taking more from this earth than you are putting into it, then you're a bum. And you're despicable as well because of how you're treating people? Oh, okay. So you're a mean bum. Yeah, no, I'm not sure we'll ever fully grasp who they think they are. But we can certainly go forward and fully be aware of what they are not. Let them exist in their delusional state of self-importance. You certainly don't have to be part of it. Because remember, I'm not telling you to leave. I don't tell anyone to leave. But remember, if you're teetering on leaving or whatever, the second you do part ways from your narcissist, all of the problems that we discuss, This is what, video 361, I think. All of the problems we've discussed in 360 prior videos are not yours anymore. They left residual pain. I understand you have stuff to work through once you part ways. But all of these kinds of problems, who do they think they are? Their insipid nature, their glib way that they go through. No, none of that is yours to carry anymore. The experience will last a while. And hopefully you'll go forward with it and you'll learn from something. But put that in your head. Who do you think you are to treat me that way? Who do you? I gotta know. And if you've been downtrodden and it's been a while and you feel like, oh my God, I could never even say that sentence in my head, say it. Don't say it out loud, especially if you're not in danger, but say it. Ask yourself then, quietly, who do they think they are treating you that way? You'll become incensed. I marvel at it. I marvel at it. I mean, we all have bad days. I've been rude, and then what do? I go and I apologize to the person, even if it's like in a store. Oh, yeah, many times I've been back to the Walgreens guy. I can still remember a time like 12 years ago. I don't know why. I had a meltdown at the photograph thing. I thought they lost pictures. It was even more than 12 years ago because my daughter was young. And I just had a fit. I went back the next day. I went back that night and the next day. I felt so bad. The guy's like, oh, my God, relax. But see, that's the thing. We all have bad days, but do you feel anything because you have a bad day? Do you go apologize to the person? Do you eat the crow? Do you make amends? They never do any of it. So again, I ask them, who do they think they are? I gotta know who they think they are. They're not even Paul Newman, and they're acting like everyone needs a piece of them. They're not Tom Selleck, Matthew McConaughey, or Alice Cooper. Just to use 4 of my examples. And there are many out there. I use famous people because that's who we all know that we know in common. You know people in your own life. Might be an exemplary figure. Right? An aunt, an uncle, a father, a grandfather, a mother, whatever. Are they feeling like the world needs to know it's disgusting. And maybe if you look at it from that perspective and realize how big their ego has to be, you'll get turned off. And of course, that's my goal. I want you turned off. Who do they think that they are is a real, it's just a kicker for me. That's all I wanted to say.